This is actually my first time at SEMA. If you get a spot anywhere in SEMA, that's super cool anyway, it doesn't matter. Just to be here is like, it wails, man, it's unbelievable. And there were times when we weren't sure we were gonna be able to make it. You know, we were down to the wire. I mean, literally the night before we left, Friday night, all the Project 130 guys, CJ, I had Brad that was cutting some carbon fiber with me. We had all those guys on board, and we were literally working on the car till 2 o'clock in the morning. My wife told me, Phil, you need to go to bed. And I said, Helen, I cannot go to bed until I have this car in the trailer. And then Carlos from Project 130, he and I drove this thing up here in the middle of the night so we could be here at 9 o'clock in the morning to do the load in. We somehow made it here at 9 o'clock in the morning for the load in, because they said, don't be late or you will lose your spot. And we said, that ain't gonna happen, we're gonna be here. It's my race car, and it did not look very good about 2 weeks ago. We sent it over to Dylan over Levin's Paint Fiber, and they did some paint magic on this thing. It was a big job to get it here, and we're stoked that we made it, because the car actually came out of paint Thursday morning. We put the car back together again, had to wire a bunch of stuff. My buddy Paul over here, he did a bunch of wiring on it to get the sequential gearbox to look, you know, to work. Dude, I'm still blown away by the whole thing. So we got here, and Sam from Super Street Magazine approached me and said, hey man, I don't know if you're aware, but you're up for award for Best Asian import. We went to the marquee, you know. I was very underdressed in my t-shirt. You know, I had no idea what this thing was going to look like. It turned out to be a club at the top of the Cosmopolitan, you know. There were 5 finalists, you know. There were hot rod, there was a truck, they had another Euro import, the Asian import, and like some 4x4. They called all those people up, they gave us the awards, and they said, you might want to stand by for a second, Phil, at the back of the stage. We might have something else for you. Jared from Formula Drift called my name again for the overall award. We went up and we got the big steering wheel that time, and I've been on cloud 9 the whole time, man. I can't even process all this, and I'm going on like no sleep. So I'm trying to process everything right now and decide exactly how I'm going to do that. You're okay, dude. Get some. Anyway. And what comes with the award is that the car will be featured in the next Gran Turismo game. So Gran Turismo is going to come down, they're going to scan the car, they're going to do sound checks, they're going to put it on the dyno, they're going to do all kinds of stuff, and they're going to get all the data that they need to actually upload all that stuff into the next game. So look for me on the next Gran Turismo game. You'll be able to select this car. The exterior features, it's a full Pandem kit. We haven't modified anything. I mean, what you see, we got the Pandem. This is the Pandem wing. Pandem fenders, you get the whole kit with it. It's a front bumper, the whole bit. You have to do some modifications to the car. You got to be willing to modify the car to make this thing work, especially for us, like being a race car. It's not the kind of thing you can just put a kit on there and go wild on it. You know, we had to tub the rear end, so we had to take nearly 4 inches of sheet metal out of the rear quarter panel so we could tub it to get the car down low enough, because the car rides on, these are 17 9.5 plus 12 T37 SLs. So, and then we've got two 45/40 tires on it. So, and this isn't even as wide as we go with a race setup. We're going to run a 275/35 17 Hoosier in the front on a 10-inch wheel. And so this off-the-shelf fender kit was ideal for our application. We've got a really badass brake setup on this thing. It was designed by Dan Fan, our crew racing. It's got Brembo Racing GT front calipers. It's got Turismo rear calipers, full floating rotors, the whole bit. We are in the process of doing like a comp brake setup, which is a dual master cylinder that you can brake bias front to rear. Really cool setup. You don't have to do the pedal setup now. It's just you remove your brake booster, you remove your master cylinder, you bolt this cage on there. It's got a balance bar in it. You select AP Racing does the master cylinders, so you can brake bias inside the car just with the same wheel that you'd use on most biasing setups. It's powered by a K24A2, nearly stock because we were kind of limited in classing with NASA and time trial, so we couldn't add a bunch of power. So we're going to change now. We're going to try to go for more of a super lap type configuration. So we're going to add a bunch of power. We're going to add more grip. We're going to develop more aero for the car, and we'd like to start doing the super lap stuff, global time attack, things like that. We've now got a carbon guy on board that's going to develop a bunch of aero for the car. So the goal is to develop a front splitter that's custom, do a full flat bottom on the car, and then he's going to design a rear diffuser for the car. The way we're going is to add the power and then kind of develop the aero to kind of keep the car balanced. We've got a cage that was designed and fabricated by Kent Porter from Precision Chassis Works. We just recently installed a Quaife sequential gearbox. So it's got the Geartronics strain gauge load cell that talks to the Honda K-Pro 4 setup. I've got Project 130 on board. I've got ICB Motorsport that provides all the parts for me. Those guys are friggin' amazing, man. It's noisy. It makes a racket inside the car. Not only do you have floating rotors on Brembos, you've got a clutch pack diff in that sequential gearbox. It's a 1.5 way spoon diff. You've got that combined with dog gears. The car's way, straight cut gears. It's noisy. It's noisy, but you fall in love with it quickly. When you start wailing on this car, all that sound just kind of goes away and it turns to music.